Welcome to the KH260 Knit Along, a hat.
Alright, so I measured Junior's head. Junior's head is 36 centimeters for a hat. See, 36 centimeters. And my wonderful Rose says that I have 12 centimeters for 20 stitches. So if you change the centimeters to millimeters, I get 120. So 120 millimeters is card number 11, or scale number 11. So I have the scale here, and if I measure 36 centimeters, I get 30 by 30. And believe it or not, that gives me a hat that may seem large, but it's really not. That fits my little guy's head. Hang on, just gotta get it to fit over his hair here. So all I have to do to make changes to this hat for the knit along is to knit a brim. So we will do a hand tooled brim, and then we're going to change the first 10 rows of knitting to a Fair Isle pattern in a contrasting color. We also need to figure out, before we move any further, if we're using our knit leader, how to program in the rows. So now I'm going to get the knit leader and I'm going to show you how to input the 11.5 centimeters for the rows. So our little scale, oh, this is such a hard angle, you guys. Our little scale just slides right here. And I would draw on that piece of plastic mylar a 36 centimeter wide rectangle. That makes sense? And then I would have to pick my rows. Now, how do you put your rows into a knit leader? Well, that happens over here. So you see centimeters and millimeters. So you depress the button here, and you move that little dial to 12, and then you do the points. So mine is actually 11. So 11, so 10, 11, 12, and then it's 0.5. 0.5. And then we release that brake, and that has set the knit leader. As the KH260 draws across and clicks this lever, it will double tap the mylar to read 2 rows every single pass. And I know it doesn't seem like that works logically. It's magic. The Brother Corporation put out these rules, and it just works. What we can do is I can put my knit leader to the side, and I can run the KH260 and manually click 2 times for the knit leader, and you will see that the little hat will be perfect. I know that makes absolutely no sense, but it will in practicality as we get knitting. So we know from the scale that we needed 30 left and 30 right. what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my ribber, and we're going to do this old school. So now we are going to start at 30 left, 30 right with an E-wrap cast on of a contrasting color. Well, double E-wrap. That way you don't have to deal with it. So we'll do that off camera, and then we'll come back. If I had the actual bulky cast-on comb, I would demonstrate for you the Agnes Donnelly Magic Fold Over Mock Rib Brim, or whatever you call that. But I don't have that cast-on comb, so I'm going to knit a couple of rows of waste yarn, and then I will switch to our main yarn. And I think we should do the mock rib because that'll make it a lot easier for you guys to actually do this project without having to spend many hours latch tooling the ribbing. So that's the plan. I'm going to knit the 2 rows, and I'm going to transfer stitches and then knit a couple more rows, and then we will start the other color. So let's do this. Now I'll put on my weights. I'm going to put on 3, even though your machine probably only came with 2. Okay, that's enough of a start. Now I'm going to transfer every second stitch to the left. I could have done it to the right, but I want to be a rebel. You know the drill. I'm going to pause this. Here's just a sample to show that I'm not cheating. I'm actually doing this by hand. Okay, so I'm going to knit a couple rows. 1, 2. Now it's set up for mock ribbing. I'm now going to do something totally outside of the normal purview. I'm going to pull this last stitch down with my finger, and I'm going to knit across. This is what I call a magic loop. When I go to remove the waste yarn, all I have to do is cut this loop and then pull on that side. And all of my waste yarn will fall away from my work. It's pretty cool. So I've now cut my waste yarn. I'm removing my waste yarn because we won't need it again. I'm now going to E-wrap. I'm going to bring all of my needles outward that are being used, of course. I'm going to put a little clip on this one. Put my little loop and then pull it through just slightly. Yes, that's going to look really weird at the beginning, but we'll tighten it up later. Now, I did say in one of my previous videos that when you're doing ribbing, to reduce your attention to whole numbers. Because our main yarn knitting or our tension swatch was knit at 5, I need to lower my tension on my carriage down to 3. So I'm going to do that right now before I forget. I do not count my E-wrap row as row 1. So I will also be resetting my row counter while I'm here to 0. I want a fairly deep mock rib, so I'm actually going to knit 20 rows for the rib. That way it's really pronounced, and you know, more is better. Now that I've done all of those, I bring them out. Tighten that up just a little bit. I guess I need another clip, so I'll just transfer. Okay, so we're going to do 20 rows, tension 3, nothing special. Now, if we stopped at 10 and we folded it over, it would be barely noticeable. So let's keep going for 20. Okay, we now have 20 rows. The easiest way to pick these up is to bring your other ones forward. Transfer your weights to the upper edge. Because you don't want to lose these edge stitches. And don't worry, you will not lose the middle stitch. Remove all clips. Now, very carefully, pulling down slightly, flip your cast-on comb. Yeah, I know that's pretty scary. So now we're just going to go straight up, and we are going to hang the stitches that are loops. So these big loops just go back on the empty needles. Don't worry about the E-wrap ones. You don't have to. This is also going to be the inside of the hat, so you won't even see it. Kind of rock your socks. It did me. I gotta move my carriage over just a little bit more. You might have a little bit of a struggle over here with these 3, but you just got to be careful. For peace of mind, you can actually take that last loop and hang it on that last stitch. There you go, it's secure. Try not to hang the ladder on a needle with a stitch. You just won't be happy. I can now grab this. What is the benefit of doing it this way? Speed and accuracy. Okay, so now we just flip, cast on, comb back. I have my yarn tails here are all being sticky, which happens. Those are all good. Okay, now transfer your weights back. Move everything forward. Reset your tension to 5. Knit across one time. You know what? You should probably put a weight on, well, not a weight, but a clip on that one yarn tail. Knit across once and then go choose a punch card. So knitting across, tension 5. Now we go choose a punch card. Okay, I've chosen card number 6 as a nice playful pattern. I'm going to now put it in. I do not need a lot of it because we only have maybe 10 rows of it to knit. So resetting our row counter to 001. Going to put in KC, knit across, and find my alternate yarn. So into KC, knit across. Now I need to find my yarn. What better contrast than a forest green or a light green? I have put it into number 2. Just going to give it a quick clip. I need to press MC and only MC. I'm on number 2. I'm going to knit 10 rows of pattern and then turn it off. I think I'm ready to go. Everything looks good. Things are kicked out. I have confidence. We are unlocking our punch card because that'll help. And here we go. I forgot to increase my tension 1 full number, so I'm going to do that now and continue. One second, please. Okay, so we have our 10 rows of patterning. We're now going to remove our punch card because we're done with it. Turn off our patterning altogether. Snip our alternate yarn. And now we will decrease our tension back to 5, lower our alternate yarn, clip it, and now we will knit to row 22. Okay, row 22. Now we are going to transfer stitches again. Going to transfer to the left, 1 stitch. Of course, I'm going to do this off camera. Okay, last couple stitches. Kind of like the mock rib, but not quite. You want to make sure that all of those empty needles are in at the back. The ones with stitches come forward. Lower your tension down to 3. You know what? Down to 2. Knit 2 rows. You want to leave yourself a long tail. And then you want to remove the stitches. I'm going to use this tool here. Going to remove my weights. Nobody wants those on their toes. What you can do to make your life easier, move them all up. Except for the last one. Give the last one where it is. Bring these forward. Push it back. When you get to about halfway, pull the needle all the way through. If you feel the cast on comb is interfering, remove it. Not a big deal. I'm going to pull through, seeing as how I'm here. Okay, got the last one, making sure they have both. Okay, not quite. Okay, I'm in that hole, in that hole. Pulling it through. Okay, now I'm going to finish seaming up this hat. I'm going to pull this really, really tight. And seam it off camera. Before I continue on with my adventure here, remember that long loop? I'm going to cut it now. I'm going to find the other loop on this side. Well, it's not a loop, sorry. The yarn tail. And I'm going to pull. And there it is, it's off. I'm now going to finish sewing this up and then we'll be back. When it comes to mock rib, do not be trying to make it fit right off the machine. You have had it stretched out widthwise and you've had weight on it lengthwise. So what you need to do is you need to wash this hat, dry this hat, and then try it on the child, and it should be a perfect fit.
So here we are, a perfect hat brought together because of a perfect tension swatch. If I can do it, so can you. I am so sorry I got distracted by a phone call and totally forgot all about the knit leader. If you think I should try again to explain the knit leader with the bulky, leave a comment and I will do it again. Thank you.